Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Coach Matt Ellis, EliteThrowsCoaching.com. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys have all been well out there. As you can tell by my voice, I have not been that well. I have been sick for the past week with a really bad cold and sinus infection, which is why this video is getting to you a little bit late. I just got my voice back a couple days ago, and I'm just able now to talk without like choking and coughing and everything else. So getting these things out to you as soon as I can. Got a little sick. Nothing I can really do about that. Okay, so we are on day number 4 of our 7-day discus breakdown. We are right in the middle, and fittingly enough, we are talking about the middle of the circle. So today we are talking about the mirror turn, which is the middle of the circle. This has many different names. It is also called the half turn. It is also called the wheel drill. A local coach calls them quarter turns. I don't know why, but quarter turns. So these have a lot of different names, but basically we're going to be focusing on the middle of the throw, the middle of the circle. All right, so the first thing you're going to do with your athletes, of course, is you're going to do a little bit of a recap of what you did on day 3. So now they are in their power position. More than likely they are getting in the circle and they are doing standing throws, and you are working on grounding, and then grounding and closing, and then ground, close, slap, ground, close, slap, pull and shift, and then finally the whole thing, ground, close, slap, pull and shift, and then reset. And then from there, they're resetting back and going through and throwing. Reset back and throw. I typically like to take 2 discuses in the circle with all my athletes. That way they get 2 throws right in a row. Now, when it comes to the mirror turn, I like to take this kind of in 2 different parts. The first part is actually teaching and demonstrating the mirror turn. Remember, our athletes learn 3 different ways. They learn by watching, they learn by listening, and they learn by doing. So if you're just having your athletes do this over and over and over again without seeing what it looks like first or listening to explain what it's supposed to look like, they're only getting 1 out of 3, okay? You've got to hit them all 3, so you've got to be able to demonstrate or have one of your athletes demonstrate and then explain exactly what's going on. So the idea that you want to explain to your athletes is that it is a backwards power position. We're going to teach and show our athletes and explain that 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock position, that 180-degree turn, which we're going to show you in the circle. And then as always, we want to stay on the ball of our power foot. The mirror turn, teaching the mirror turn and doing the mirror turn drills is basically going to stop 3 big problems from happening. The first problem, a lot of athletes drop their heel in the middle of the circle. This is going to teach them to stay up on the ball of their foot. The other thing that happens is a lot of athletes take their blocking foot, their non-power foot, and they kick it way up over their butt, almost equal with their lower back. That we don't want to do. And the third one is that blocking foot takes a really huge path and goes all the way around that circle instead of cutting through. And again, what we're going to teach today is actually going to stop that. As always, we want to teach and have them learn this empty-handed without a discus. That way they actually focus on their feet, they focus on their body, they focus on their movement. They're not worried about dropping anything. They're not worried about letting anything go. And they're not thinking about using their arm and throwing. They're thinking about their bodies. From there, we're going to have your athletes actually execute the mirror turn, or whatever you call it, half turn, quarter turn, wheel drill, wheels, whatever. Whatever you call it, that's what we're going to have them start doing. I like to teach it with 4 different drills. The first, squeeze the knees. Okay, so this is one, it's going to teach them how to squeeze their knees together, how to bring their knees together in the middle so they're not taking that big wide turn. We're going to do the 180-degree pivot, working from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock position. Then we're going to do that 180-degree pivot, again, working 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, but we're going to find a target to look at, and we're going to find a target to point at with our non-throwing arm to keep their weight back and to keep them closed in the power position. And finally, we're going to put a broomstick on their shoulders, and we're going to mimic having the implement in their hand, mimic that letter T position while having a broomstick on their shoulders. And then if you get through all of this, again, this should be 1 day of practice, maybe 90 minutes. At the end of that day of practice, if you've got 15, 20 minutes, you can have them actually pick up a discus, do a mirror turn, and then continue throwing. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to be moving you around the gym. We're going to spend some time on the indoor throwing circle and the turf. We're going to show you how to do all this stuff and how you should do it with your athletes out at practice. All right, so the first part in teaching your athletes the mirror turn is to explain to them that it's basically a backwards power position. What do we mean? Backwards power position. That doesn't make any sense. Well, when you think about it, I'm going to show you here just a regular power position. Again, just like we showed before, boom. We're reset back. We've got letter T, non-throwing arms back, heads back, chest back. We're up on the ball of that power foot. We're up on the toe of our blocking foot, and we have reset back into that power position. Your athletes should have been doing this now for at least a couple days. Well, when we set up into that mirror turn position, the reason it's called a mirror turn is because you want to look like, if you had a full-length mirror in front of you, you want to look like that person in the mirror. So we're going to start this way. We're actually going to start almost like you're going to do a standing throw and throw it directly into the cage. We're going to start facing the throwing area, and you're not going to be really down the left sector line, but between the left sector line and the middle of that toe board or the middle of the rim, that's really your target area. So we're going to start out right here, and we're just going to reset and get back into that power position. So it looks like we're going to throw this way, but really our direction is this way. And all the same rules apply. You're going to show them, hey, we are up on the ball of the right foot. Okay, our hip, our knee, our ankle are all stacked on top of each other. We've got the head back, chest back, left arm back. We're in this great letter T position. All of our weight is on our power leg, and that is the start of the mirror turn. Pretty simple stuff, but a real good thing to demonstrate to them and explain. It's basically a backwards power position. Okay, so if you notice, when I was in that mirror turn position in the start, my right foot, my right knee, and my hip were all facing what I call 3 o'clock. Now, there's a lot of different ways to do this. You can do like north, east, south, and west. You can do like 180, is back here, 90, 270. A lot of hammer throwers do that. There's a lot of ways to do it. I like to think of it like a clock. You've got 12 o'clock right here at the top, and if you work around, there's 3, there's 6, there's 9, and we're back at 12. Okay, so really easy way of doing it, but if you notice, my toe, my knee, and my hip are all facing the camera, all facing 3 o'clock. So when I get wound up, I have my toe and my knee pointing at 3 o'clock. So the next thing you want to explain to your athletes is that this is basically a 180. You're going to be turning your toe, turning your knee, turning your hip, and your whole body is going to swivel 180 degrees. So again, think of the idea from a few videos ago where we talked about sitting in that swivel chair, sitting in your desk chair. The upper body is not going to move. The upper body is like a statue on a pedestal. It's actually your right foot and your lower body that does the moving. Your power foot does the moving. You're balanced and turning on the power foot. The upper body stays still. So again, this kind of gets out of that habit of using the upper body. You reset back into that mirror turn position. Again, we're facing over here at 3 o'clock. We're on the ball of our foot. And from here, you're just going to show your athletes that it's a 180-degree turn all the way around, and boom, we're landing in that power position. And from there, now my foot's pointing over here at 9 o'clock. My knee is at 9 o'clock. We're going to do it again. We're going to turn, boom, 3 o'clock, boom, 9 o'clock, up on the ball, 3 o'clock, up on the ball, 9 o'clock. And you're just going to rinse and repeat. Either you're demonstrating or one of your older athletes is demonstrating for you, and you're just showing and explaining to your athletes that their foot is turning from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, moving 180 degrees. The last thing that you're going to really hammer home is that they are always going to be on the ball of their right foot, the ball of their power foot. So do one of these. I know, show off my legs. And we're going to be right here up on the ball of that power foot. So again, this gets rid of that habit, and it teaches them correctly before they can make the habit. You never want to correct things if you can just teach it correctly the first time. So stay on the ball of the foot. A lot of people are going to drop their heel, put their foot nice and flat, get up on the ball of their foot, and then show them, hey, you've got to be on the ball of your foot. You can't pivot on a flat foot. That's one of the things I always tell my athletes. You can't pivot on a flat foot. You're going to get stuck. This is going to lead to a lot of right sector falls. So we're going to stay up on the ball of our foot. Keep the heel off the ground, and you're going to pivot on the ball of your right foot, the ball of your power foot. So hammer that home. Make sure they know that. And from there, we're going to go on and actually have your athletes do mirror turns and execute the movement. Okay, so check it out. I'm not in the circle anymore, am I? I'm on the turf here at the gym. So again, you can do these drills anywhere. I love parking lots. I think that's the best place to do them. It's a nice smooth area, and you've got lines already painted in the parking lot. Here we have this random yellow line on our turf. So I'm going to use this to set up the mirror turn. Now, the mirror turn, remember, it's kind of not going directly down that left sector line. It's not going directly down 6 o'clock. It's sort of like 5:30. It's just off of that sector line, between the sector line and the middle of that discus ring or the toe board if you're doing this for a rotational shot. So I am going to use this painted yellow line, and you can use the lines in the parking lot sort of as that imaginary balance beam, that line that they're going to drive down. Okay, so you're going to have all your athletes line up. You're going to put their power foot on that painted line, and we're going to put their blocking foot on that painted line. We're going to have them reset into that power position. And the first thing we're going to teach them to do is squeeze the knees. Now, what do I mean squeeze the knees? Well, we want to be up on the ball of that power foot, and we want to bring the knees together, just like this. In, and then we're going to step right back out. We're going to go in, we're going to go out, we're going to go in, and we're going to go out. Okay, so we're starting that path to turning down into that power position. So the knees are going to come together. Why is this so important? Let me show you from the other side. We're going to start on the ball of that foot, right on that line. We're going to be up on the ball of the foot. All of our weight is on that power foot. We're going to squeeze the knees together, step out. Squeeze the knees, step out. Squeeze the knees, step out. First thing this does is it really gets them conditioned and used to staying on the ball of their foot. It's a very specific strength that they need to develop to be balanced on that foot and to stay up on the ball of that right foot. Their calf, their shin, their ankles are all going to develop strength so they can do that properly. The other thing is it starts to teach them correctly that they are not going to swing their leg really far around. So we see a lot of athletes swing this leg really far around, and we see other athletes do that gigantic butt kick where their leg comes all the way up here and then kicks and stomps all the way on the ground. Well, by pinching their knees together, you're teaching them that it's a little bit more of a linear movement where they're bringing the knees together as they drive across that circle and go to do that mirror turn, that half turn. They're pinching the knees together and creating a much more linear movement. So they're not doing that big circular movement with their foot. They're bringing the knees together to accelerate and speed up that movement across the circle. Okay, so after we squeeze the knees, now you can put them on that same parking lot line, now facing this way. Now we have a definitive 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock position when they're in that parking lot or when they're on, the basketball court or wherever you have a painted line. So we're going to start with all of their weight on that power foot. We're going to reset back into that standing throw position, and we're going to show them. We're going to have them look down and say, where's your right foot pointing? It's at 3 o'clock. Where's your knee? 3 o'clock. Now we're going to do that turn. We're going to squeeze the knees together, okay? Squeeze the knees together, and as we squeeze the knees together, we're going to turn on the power foot and do a 180. So it's squeeze and then do a 180. Boom, just like this. We're not going to put the foot out just yet. Okay, we're not going to reach with the foot. We're just going to squeeze the knees, do a 180. Okay, squeeze the knees, do a 180. And they're going to have a chance to look down at their feet every couple reps and see where their feet are pointing. Is the foot still at 9 o'clock? Is it at 10 or 11 o'clock? When they reset back, is their foot all the way at 3 or is it at 4 or 5? Is the toe pointed in and the knees pointed out? They can take a look down, peek at their feet, and make sure that they are staying on that line. 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, it's a straight line. It's a 180-degree turn. Get them on a straight line, just like I had in my circle here at the gym. Get them on the straight line. That way they can look down and check to make sure that they are doing a total 180. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna do that mirror turn, that 180-degree turn, but we're gonna find a target to look at. So if you notice, way back there, okay, it's about 20, 25 feet away from me, I have a green ball on top of our porter circle. All right, so the green ball is back there, and on the other side of the gym, I've got that scale. So those are both within the view of this yellow line. When I'm looking this way, I'm looking at the green ball, and when I'm looking this way, I'm looking at the scale. Now, where you are in your practice, you might have garbage cans, you might have telephone poles, you might have a car in a parking lot, you might have a big tree. You may have to put something in the grass like somebody's shoe, somebody's backpack, a big bottle of water, whatever you might have. Put that so that it is facing directly at 12 o'clock and directly at 6 o'clock. And then when your athletes start to do the mirror turn, you're gonna have them look at that object, you're gonna have them find it. Look at the object with their eyes, or you can say point your nose at the object, point your chest at the object, and then we're gonna point our non-throwing arm at that object. This is what it's gonna look like. Okay, so I'm getting set up in that mirror turn position, and I am looking at the scale, and I have my chest and my nose, eyes pointed at the scale. My non-throwing arm, my blocking arm, is pointed back at the scale. Now I'm pretty much ensured that I have all of my weight back. I'm not opening up too early, and I'm in a really solid power position. From there, we're gonna do that 180-degree turn, and I can't see it right now, it's behind me, but I know back there somewhere, there's a green ball, and I'm gonna look for that green ball, and I'm gonna point at that green ball with my non-throwing arm. Looks like this. Mirror turn, green ball, mirror turn, scale. Mirror turn, green ball, mirror turn, scale. Staying on the ball of my foot, doing the 180, and I'm looking and pointing at the green ball. And what does this do? I'm not using my upper body. I'm not turning first and using my upper body to try to gain speed. Remember, the upper body is like a statue. It's like when you go to a museum or a college and you see the bust of a president. It's just the upper body, the torso and the head of a president sitting on a pedestal. If you were to move the pedestal, the bust of the president moves with it. You don't move the statue, then move the pedestal. If you turn the pedestal, everything turns with it. Same thing here. I'm looking back. My non-throwing arm is back. All of my weight is back. When I turn, I'm not moving my arms first. I'm moving my lower body, and my upper body goes along with it. So you're teaching them to hold their weight back, not open up too early. How common of an issue is that? Everybody does it. They're doing their mirror turn, they're going through their throw, and they start to open up and look and point too early with that non-throwing arm. So we're teaching them the right way first. We're making sure they're keeping their head back and their non-throwing arm back by looking at an object and pointing at that object. Last thing we're gonna do on today is we're gonna get a broomstick or some type of long pipe or just something that you might have available. Javelins work great for this too. We're gonna put it on their back so that they are set up in a perfect letter T position. Now, tall people problems. I've got gorilla arms and giraffe legs, as I always tell my athletes. The broomstick's not long enough for me. So ideally, I'd have a much longer wooden dowel or a javelin or something like that where my arms are gonna fit, but this is gonna do for now. Now, you can't see it, but off camera, I have an orange Home Depot bucket that we put all of our cleaning supplies in. So I'm gonna set up, again, in that power position, okay? But it's backwards because it's a mirror turn. You're in a mirrored position. So you're in that backwards power position. We're in a letter T. my toe, my knee, pointing at 3 o'clock. We've got all of my weight up on the power foot, and I'm on the ball of that foot. And now when I do that mirror turn, I'm gonna look for that orange bucket, and I'm gonna put my chest or point my chest at that orange bucket. And it looks like this. Boom. Looking at the orange bucket, we're gonna turn back, look down the throwing area. Now, ideally, if you're outside, there's some type of a telephone pole, light post, garbage can, car, whatever, down there. Kids can take a look. All right, still pointing over there at 3 o'clock. Mirror turn, boom. Okay, we're pointing over there at 9 o'clock. We're gonna get our balance. Mirror turn, boom. Mirror turn, boom. Pinch the knees, mirror turn, boom, mirror turn, boom, rinse and repeat, okay? Repetitions are key. We wanna make sure that we have our athletes doing lots and lots and lots of reps. If you have a small team, getting them in the circle is gonna work well. If you are dealing with a huge team, 10 or more athletes all doing discus or rotational shot together, you gotta get them in the parking lot. You gotta get them on a sidewalk. You gotta get some porter circles. I'll put a link up above. The portable discus circles. Get them set up so that your athletes are able to do a lot of reps. Don't waste your time if you have a 90-minute practice and you have your athletes getting in the circle doing these, and you have 10 athletes, you've got 1 athlete in the circle, 9 athletes outside the circle not paying attention, fooling around. They're not gonna get in the reps. They're not gonna learn it quick enough. So take them on an access road, take them on a basketball court, parking lot, the turf football field. I just did it on turf in here. You guys can do this, okay? Make sure, get them out there. Super important part of the throw. In my opinion, the middle of the throw is where a lot of the major mistakes happen. So we wanna nail this. We wanna really nail this and hammer home these points. That way, when we get into the back of the circle, which is the last 3 videos, the back of the circle, and as you transfer from the back to the middle, they're not gonna have those bad habits of dropping the heel. They're not gonna be kicking their blocking foot all the way around. They're not gonna be lifting it up over their butt. They're not gonna be leading and opening up too early because you taught them how to do it correctly right here in the mirror turn. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click that subscribe button down below and click the notification bell so you are notified whenever a new video comes out. Stay tuned. Our next video is going to be dropping in just a couple days. I've got to get caught up. So make sure to check that out and check out all the other videos in this playlist so you can go from never having thrown a discus or never having an athlete throw a discus to doing a full turn in 7 days.